Are you too busy to pick out the perfect outfit every day? I get it. It's tough to juggle work, life, and still find the time to focus on fashion. That's where Armoire comes in. With a clothing rental membership, you can effortlessly turn heads with stylish, everyday looks tailored just for you. With all of our book events and photo ops recently, I've rented all my outfits from Armoire. It's been so fun and so great to not have to buy a whole new wardrobe, but also be on trend and even experiment with some different styles. All I did was take a quick 5-minute style quiz, build a personalized closet, and wait for high quality, unique pieces delivered to my door in as little as 2 days. Oh, and did I mention that Armoire is women founded and women led? Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That's Armoire, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
I know firsthand how much stress can mess with your hormones. Between work, life, and everything else, it's easy to feel completely out of balance. That's where Happy Mammoth comes in. They offer a free 2-minute quiz that can help you uncover the root cause of your hormonal symptoms. It's super easy. Just answer a few questions about what you're going through and where you're at in life. You'll get a personalized recommendation to help balance your hormones and start feeling better. When I took the quiz, it suggested that my body may be overloaded with hormone estrogen and may be struggling to metabolize it. By taking Hormone Harmony, it could help with bloating, anxiety, fatigue, overwhelm, and so much more. With over 40,000 5-star reviews and a bottle selling every 24 seconds, the results speak for themselves. So if you're ready to start feeling like yourself again, head over to happymammoth.com and take their free 2-minute hormone quiz today to find the ultimate answers to your stubborn hormonal issues. And for a limited time, you could also get 15% off your entire first order with our code DATEABLE at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code DATEABLE for 15% off today.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Brunch Talk. We're going to follow the same format, which is we answer your burning dating questions. Any challenges, issues, celebrations that's on your mind?
Yeah.
We're going to read them out loud. The main question we want to answer today is we've been rolling out our dating archetype quiz. If you haven't taken it yet, you got to. Okay. And there are 5 archetypes, and you could be one or multiple. And many of you are the thinker archetype. And we had a listener write in and ask, what is the difference between, because she's a thinker, what is the difference between overthinking versus being intentional and cautious? Because you also don't want to be irrational, and you also don't want to be too erratic and spontaneous. So how do you balance the right amount of thinking with the right amount of magic?
Oh, that's a good one. Because I do think the benefit of the thinker is that they are level-headed. You know, like sometimes you get into trouble in dating if you're just not thinking at all and just going with, you know, an impulse or maybe a feeling that isn't backed up by anything. So we're not saying to like abandon all your thinker ways either. That could be very beautiful. I mean, I think the overthinking where it becomes problematic from my past instances, I'll go off of that, and then what I've observed in others is when you're trying to control things you can't control.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have any info on it and you're just like ruminating about something that you really don't know. Like for instance, I'll give a concrete example of what I'm trying to say. I think if someone continuously doesn't text when they say they will, that's info that you should use and be like, okay, the thinker in me is going to analyze this info I have. They have not shown up to be a reliable or consistent partner.
Mhm.
Where the overthinking happens is when you're staring at your phone and you're sending it telepathic signals and you're running through all the situations of what they could be doing or ruminating about why they might not be texting you. To me, that's not productive
Right.
because it's not like a concrete example either way. And like you're just driving yourself crazy.
And there's just so much inaction
Yeah.
in all that time, which is a
Yeah.
waste of time if nothing is being done.
That's a gut check too. Can you take action from the info you know? And if the answer is no, then you're in overthinking territory.
Yes. And then the balance of that is the action needs to be informed by the info, not by impulse, not by
Mhm.
emotion. So here's another example to balance your example out. I have a friend who was dating 4 people. By the way, on our dating archetype quiz, she scored high on everything but thinker. She got a 0 for thinker. So she was everything else. And with the 4 people that she had been seeing, she narrowed it down to 1 based on feelings, which is,
Okay.
yes, that's great. And the minute that he posed something that she didn't like, she broke it off. And now she's back in the dating scene, getting 4 more in her queue so she could repeat the same patterns. And she's like, I'm feeling so burnt out. And it is the perfect example of the opposite situation where if you're taking so much action, you're go, 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 you're in that
Mm-hmm.
energizer mode, and you think that this is helping you become efficient. But she didn't take the time to reflect on her 4 choices, what they
Yeah.
brought up for her, why this chosen one brought up something very negative for her. Instead of leaning into that, she leaned out and was like, I'm going to distract myself with more action. So there is still
Right.
that the thinking needs to come to inform the action. It can't just be totally unrelated. But if there's no action at all, that's probably linked to too much thinking.
So there's no consciousness in what you just described. It's like you're going through the
Mm,
motions, like 4 didn't work out. Let me just throw in 4 more. Like there's no reflection. There's no way to be
yeah.
like, what is good for me? What am I looking for? Like to me, that feels like, even though it feels empowering that you're getting all these options, it almost feels like very passive that you're just like waiting to see who comes through. You're picking the best out of the 4. I would so much rather someone had the thinking up front of like, our dating why and dating North Star exercise in the book. Perfect example is that you go through that, you have a vision of what it is you need in a partner and what you're looking for. That's when the thinking happens. And then from there, you
Mhm.
see if someone is the right fit based on the fact that you are just watching their actions and you're letting things play out instead of trying to force an outcome. I think sometimes the overthinking happens when we're trying to force an outcome.
Yes, absolutely. And then when the outcome doesn't happen the way you want it to, then you blame your thinking. You're like, oh, it's
Yeah,
because I didn't think about this enough. I didn't have all the
right.
information. It's probably because you overthought the entire situation.
Right. Instead of just being like, they were showing me who they were, they
Yeah.
weren't the right fit.
Yeah.
So
And
here's
then move
another
on.
example for you that's a little different or a question, because I think there's a couple things that you said about being intentional, being cautious. I think those are very different things to me.
Mm.
Like being intentional is what we were just describing of like knowing the reason why you're dating and what are you looking for? What are your needs? How are they going to get met? That to me is intentional. And then I want to meet someone that fits into that intention versus cautious to me feels like I'm like not sure what to do. I'm analyzing every
Mm.
move. And I think actually if you're intentional and you lean into your intention and you feel like legit about it, not just, I think where maybe people second guess is when their intention isn't really their intention. Like it's just an intention
Yes.
that's given by society. It's like, oh, I should date to get married or I should, be in a long-term relationship, but it's not like grounded in what that actually means to you. So in that case, you're like, is this person right? Are they a good fit? Like instead of when you are very intentional of what works, then you can really see that.
I'm totally on board with that differentiation. When you're cautious, this sounds like a protection mechanism. I
Hmm.
can see someone being like, I've been hurt in the past. I didn't read this person right. And I don't want to repeat those old patterns. So I want to be cautious this time around. Here's the truth, though. You really don't know how people are going to unfold. You really have
You
no
don't.
idea what the future holds. You can only gauge what you have today. So being cautious is good on one hand to, yes, it's helpful for you to read those cues, but you really don't have the full picture to make a decision. So you can err on the side of overly cautious, and that's what gets you to overthinking too.
Yeah.
But the intentionality is what brings you out of the cautiousness into a direction. So if everything's fitting into this one path, then it's easier for you to make decisions versus being like looking at the past and trying not to repeat old patterns.
I mean, I agree. You never know how things are going to fully play out. And that's why there's a line of thinking and planning and needing all the details, because at some point, love is a leap of faith. That being said, I think you can take maybe educated decisions. That doesn't mean that like it will 100% play out the way you think it does. But let's say like you have someone that you met and they're just like wildly inconsistent and they're telling you they don't want a girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever you're dating. I think there's a lot more risk that comes with that. And that's when we see people being like, well, I'm just trying to be like cautious. And it's like, why are you even engaging in this person in the first place? So I think there's like a line of, yeah, you can never fully predict, but also like maybe setting yourself up for like success at least, that you're aligned at least enough that you're going in with an educated guess here.
Yeah, which is part of the intentionality, right? Like everything is aligned to your intention of this situation or the person you're dating. I feel like being cautious is also, it's almost the same concept as being erratic. It's almost the
How
same
so?
thing, right? Because it is still chaotic. I think being cautious is just being like, okay, I don't know what's being thrown at me, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
be cautious about it. And hopefully that I can organize whatever's being thrown at me. Same thing with being erratic, is just being chaotic. And being cautious is you trying to control what
Hmm.
the crazy shit that's going to happen. Like trying to find control in an environment where you have no control over. Being erratic is also being like leaning into that chaos. Both of those are kind of the same thing, and they just lack the direction.
Yeah.
And the direction is that intentionality. And I love that you brought up the dating why, because so much of what we do in dating, we make these choices, but we can't answer the why.
Hmm.
And we can even go as surface level as my friend's example, dating 4 people. Why did you choose 4 people?
Right.
She can't answer that. She can't.
And why did you even choose the one that you chose?
Why did you choose the one you chose? How are the 4 people different? What do they bring for you? She can't answer that. It was
Right.
just like erratic.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, these 4 people appeared before me. We had a good time. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Here we go.
I see what you're saying about cautious going to erratic in that sense, especially of like, okay, I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to have multiple people around. I think also with caution, it's a self-protection mechanism.
Yep.
So I feel like anytime I was being cautious, I wasn't giving my full self. And I think that makes it very hard to like form a connection with someone. In the last round of dating that I did, I feel like I just put myself out there more and maybe wasn't like cautious in the sense like I wasn't holding back. And then if someone wasn't a fit, they weren't a fit, and then you move on. So I think caution is, it's good to not like dive necessarily blindly. There is a case for caution of, I don't know if caution's the right word, but like, for instance, I don't know, I used to do this and I know a lot of people do it, get ahead of themselves, right? It's like you go on one amazing date and you're like, oh my God, I met my person. This person's incredible. Maybe like, I don't know if caution's the right word, but like there's something that's there that's beneficial to be like, okay, reality check. I've only known this person for 2 hours. They seem great, but we really don't know. We don't know what their situation is. We don't know what's going on. So I think there's like that healthy level of caution, but I think always not like putting yourself out there or taking any risk isn't going to actually yield you any benefit either.
Yeah, there's the caution on the side of what you are, the dreamer. So if you are a dreamer archetype, you do get ahead of yourself and you're all about the story. And then there's also the other side, which is the maverick, where it's all the negative outcome, right? You're
Yeah.
married to the guilty until proven innocent kind of mentality. My other friend just went through this. She's been seeing someone she really likes, but she is such a maverick that she won't put herself out there to intentionally ask to see him. So they're just having
Mm-hmm.
this texting
Oh,
war
God.
back and forth.
Yeah.
And she put out something very subtle. Like in her mind, she was asking him out. Like I saw the text. I was like, I would never read it that way. And he didn't respond. Okay. And then 3 hours later, she texts me and she's like, it's over. I'm done. I don't want to repeat the old patterns. I'm going to save myself this heartbreak. It's over. And I'm like, what? What? And she's like, it's taking him 3 hours to respond to my invite. Obviously, he's not interested. Okay. She sends me this text. And then immediately after, the guy texts and it's like, oh, hey, I was just out with friends. Did I miss something? And she's like, went on a rant.
Oh,
Just like,
goodness. To him?
to him. It was like, I didn't
Okay.
hear from you. I thought we were meeting up. I thought A, B, and C. Like, I got to stand up for myself. I have standards. You're
Mm.
not meeting these standards. And the dude was just like, I was out to lunch with friends. I didn't even know that you were inviting me out somewhere. And where exactly were you inviting me out to? So that's the maverick cautious of just going completely the opposite way of being like, nobody's going to be that person for me. They're all going to break my heart.
Right. Well, that's the shield of armor for sure. And
Yeah.
making a ton of assumptions too. I mean, I'm thinking of, I know we're just like giving all of our friends examples right now, but I'm thinking of another mutual friend of the two of us. And she was very cautious. And I think it was coming from not really having a lot of relationship experience. Like she was like questioning, like, is this the right person? Because like at the beginning of their relationship, her partner was ready to like define the relationship, like a month. I think it was like a couple months in, which honestly isn't weird. That's pretty standard. It's actually a good sign. But she was like, I don't have all the info. I don't know. How do I know that this is the right person for me? What if I make a mistake and then I cut myself off from other people? I should keep dating other people. And I was just like, try it for a month, because the only way you'll actually learn and see if they're the right person is if you spend time with them. If you're constantly hedging your bets too and dating them plus like 10 other people at the same time, what are you seeing them once a week? If even, it's really hard to spend quality time and see if they're right for you if you're doing that.
I remember those conversations. And now a year later, they're in a happy relationship, so in love.
I know. And the thing is, like, of course, it's fantastic it went that way. But, like, even if it didn't,
Right.
you learn. And then you can always go back and meet new people. They're not going anywhere. I think you're actually wasting more time by, like, letting things sit for a while.
Yes. Okay, so if people want some concrete advice around this, we said you're definitely overthinking if no actions being taken. That's one way to look at it. Are there other ways to catch yourself when you're overthinking?
Well,
I guess rumination. Rumination would be another one. You're just going over the same conversation, the same text. Just you can't get off of this one thing.
Or waiting. Like when you're waiting, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with rumination, but when you're waiting for something and then the wheels start turning, at that point, go for a walk. Like, get out of your environment. I think for me, that's a game changer for anxiety. It sounds so simple, but yeah, it's leaving the state and going into a new mental state. And physical, I think the physical activity helps yield that. Even just like a walk around the block can make a world of difference.
Yeah, get out of that environment you're in. Not be like me where I was coloring books at home.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like feeding the anxiety more. I want to take a quick break because I'm curious your thoughts on something else. But before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our partners. Did you hear the Environmental Protection Agency just banned 2 cancer-causing chemicals? And there's a good chance they're in a ton of your cleaning products, which is why we love Blueland. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, and they are on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet. In my household, we've completely switched over to Blueland and could not be happier. Not only do the products give you the same powerful clean you're used to, but they offer refillable cleaning products. It's so much easier to not constantly rebuy and lug around heavy products. The laundry tablets have been an absolute game changer for me because we still do not have laundry in unit. Plus, our clothes come out so fresh and clean, which is why Blueland is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. Blueland has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/dateable. You won't want to miss this. this. Blueland.com/dateable for 15% off. That's blueland.com/dateable to get 15% off. So I've been hearing about Skims for a while now, but I never really understood the hype. But let me tell you, it is legit. I don't think I'll ever wear another brand of underwear again, I swear. That's how obsessed I am. I love both the boy shorts and the racerback scoop bralette. They feel like no other underwear I've ever worn before. Literally, it feels like you aren't even wearing underwear because the fabric melts on your skin. Yet it still has the support I need, which is seriously just blows my mind in the best way possible. I don't know what they put into this fabric, but it feels like pure bliss, and I will be 100% getting all my wedding garments from Skims because I can't go back at this point. Hopefully you all could experience this level of comfort too. Shop Skims Fits Everyday Collection and more at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select Dateable in the drop-down menu that follows.
Once the weather started getting warmer, I realized I was back in the same worn-out rotation. Same tank, same shorts, same everything. So I gave my daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. Their pieces are easy, elevated, and somehow make me feel more put together without even trying. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. Now, my favorite summer item has been the super soft bike shorts that are so perfect for everyday wear and has the quality of high-end athleisure brands. But by cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/DATEABLE to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable. Does it feel like most healthy snacks just taste so bland? Well, I think I may have found the perfect healthy snack. Washington Red Raspberries. They're a clean, simple, and seriously delicious way to add more nutrients to your day. So get this, they're American grown, picked at peak ripeness, and frozen within hours to lock in nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, and vitamin C. And I love to toss them in a smoothie or a yogurt for breakfast or eat them as a healthy treat throughout the day. Grown with care by American farmers in Washington state, frozen Washington Red Raspberries are one of the best kept secrets in the freezer aisle. Make sure to always check the label for American grown frozen raspberries. Want to discover new ways to use American frozen red raspberries and get more details on where you can grab a bag of these delicious berries? Go to redraz.org. That's redrazz.org. You'll find recipes, healthy tips, retail locations, and everything you need to make frozen Washington Red Raspberries a regular part of your routine.
What about if you're like, okay, let's say you're been dating someone for a while, you love them, you're in a good relationship, but the overthinking kicks in, like, is this my forever partner? How do you deal with that? I think some people like make lists, which I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like it's in one way, it's good to get it on paper, journal. I'm not sure if like you can, I don't know, equate someone down to a list, but I like in theory that it like gets it out of your mind onto paper.
Yeah.
I think the other piece too of maybe a reality check too, that like no one is ever going to be perfect. And what does this person bring you? Especially if you know yourself, especially if you're a maverick and you tend to hold people, including yourself, to high standards. It's not a bad thing. Inherently, you want to be treated well, but sometimes it can be problematic if you're holding people to unrelenting standards or you're focusing on what they don't bring versus what they do bring. Because sometimes you can get into that trap also.
It's very normal to have these questions at any point in a relationship. We've certainly had people who've been married for decades who've questioned this. But when I do find people questioning this, I ask them this question. What do you envision as someone who is right for you? What do you envision for this person? What does that relationship look like? And 99% of people cannot answer that question.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that intentionality. We feel like, oh, is this the right person? Is this the right relationship? Am I making the right choice? Ask yourself, what is the right choice? What does that look like? What would that feel like? The right relationship, what does that look like? And once you have a vision of what that looks like, bring it back to your partner. It's not for your friend group. It's not for the barista. to help you understand. Certainly not for ChatGPT to help you.
Although ChatGPT can be a good therapist at times. I asked it some stuff. Don't go to Reddit. That's my advice.
Can help you organize your thoughts, right? Help you understand what the vision is. But in order to help this vision come to life, you got to bring it back to your partner. And maybe your partner has no idea this is the vision you have for the relationship. And even in early dating, I think this applies too. When you're questioning, is this the right person? Am I making the right decision? Is this what I'm looking for? Again, ask yourself, what is it that I'm looking for? What is that grander vision? And discuss it with the person you're dating. Like, what is something we're trying to build together? This is what I had in mind. Is this also what you have in mind? If you're not aligned earlier on in your dating process, then you're not going to be aligned later. It's nice to set up your partner for success, to understand what you're looking for and what you're building towards.
Also, get our book and listen to the last episode, a recent episode we did on the only 7 things that matter, because I think that puts it in perspective. Because a lot of times when we get these types of questions or people questioning, often it's because they have this vision of superficial traits. It's not even like how they feel with someone, and our perfect partner equation too can help. There's a lot of tools in there for you. But I think when you start to look at it differently, and actually 7 things is very digestible for thinkers too, which is good. When you start to think about it differently in that regard, I think that is when you actually start to see if someone is right or wrong for you. It actually simplifies it dramatically instead of getting caught up in these ruminations of like, well, maybe are they not well traveled enough, or like they didn't learn another language, like things that just like don't really matter in a relationship. And maybe you'll travel with them anyways, like things that like don't actually do anything. So that's first, I would say, is like, how do you actually get to like a good evaluation source? Because if you're not evaluating against something that's, I don't know, the right inputs to begin with, then you're again just spinning in a wheel. I would say though too is talk it out, like therapy, coaching, like all of that is so good for thinkers to get out of their head and verbalize. Because that's like when you were saying, Yue, like when I'll ask people, like, what is it that you want? When you realize you can't answer, then you're like, oh, it's not my partner necessarily. It's on me to do the work to understand what I'm looking for. And am I actually even evaluating this person in a way that's fair?
Yeah. I think it just brings up this bigger point for all of us. Is the reason why we get into these conundrums of like just overthinking and ruminating is because we don't know what we want. We are so not clear about what we want. And you ask people sometimes, like I've had friends who are like, at this point in my life, this is not what I pictured. And then I ask, like, what did you picture? And they're like, I don't know. It's just this, it's not this. And it's really odd. And sometimes I have the same feeling about everything in life. It's like, oh, this is not how I picture this to be. But then what did I picture? I have no idea. Yeah.
And when did you picture it? That's the other thing. I think sometimes people hold on to this vision that they created when they were like a teenager. And it's like, it's okay if life isn't unfolding that way, if you're happy. I think at the end of the day, even going back to that simple, gut check, like, are you happy around this person? Do you feel good around this person? Do they make you feel like your best self? Like these are like simple gut checks that can really take a lot of this overthinking out.
Yeah, because so much of that overthinking is based on assumptions that we made. Yeah. I just assumed at a certain point in a relationship, you just look a certain way, or like you do certain activities together because that's what I assumed happened in relationships. And then you realize every relationship is different and they're all going to unfold in such a different way.
As long as you're happy in the relationship.
Yes.
It's all that matters.
Yes. That's what our book is all about, honestly. Like DIY what that vision is and then work towards that vision. Don't take someone else's vision of a relationship.
And get your answers. I think that is the other piece that we stress so much for the overthinkers out there. A huge part for me was when I was in that rumination mode, being like, are they going to text me? Am I going to hear from them again?
Yeah.
I just sent them the text and I either heard from them or I didn't, but I got my answer.
That was the best period of dating for you that I had ever witnessed.
I just didn't give a fuck.
You didn't give a fuck, but you gave here's the thing. You didn't give a fuck, but you gave a fuck about yourself. That's what it was.
Yes,
I
that's
care
true.
too much about me, my time, and my energy to waste it on things that are out of my control.
Yes, that was the shift. And I hear people being like, well, I don't want to be the one to text first. I want to see if they like me. You'll know.
You'll
You'll
know.
still know. We're not advocating that you lead the whole relationship.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're just spending all your time and energy wondering, I think part of it too, when I was in this state, it was when I was working full time. We were working on Dateable. I had a full life of being very invested with friends and community. I just honestly didn't have time to be doing that. And I was dating, and I'm like, I want to date, but I don't want to be spending hours and hours. I find I ruminate the most when I don't have other stuff going on in my life.
Exactly.
So maybe that's another
yes
question back to yourself of is the reason I'm overthinking this the person, or is it because I need to get some other stuff going on?
Yeah, the circumstance. But then also don't pack your calendar with too much stuff to distract you from
There's a
the
line.
intentional thinking to be doing. There's a balance, but I totally agree. If you're situational, I find that when I'm unhappy in my career or something else in my personal life, then it bleeds into my dating life. And then I'm like, oh, why hasn't this person texted me back? It feels like such a big deal. But if everything else, I'm thriving in so many other areas of my life and someone doesn't text me back, I'm like, on to the next.
Well, if you're that busy, you're forgetting too.
Right.
I know it's not the same scenario at all, but one of my friends texted this morning. It was on a group chain, and she texted 5 days after the conversation. I'm just wait, what is the context of this text? Because in my mind, I'm I've already moved on to other things where that was 5 days ago. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But if you're sitting there waiting,
ruminating, waiting 5 days, what is your answer? Do you like sushi or not?
She's I'm free Tuesday or Thursday. I'm of what? Where are we?
Oh,
what week are we in?
Of last week. I've moved on. It sounds easier said than done.
No,
for
I know.
Sure. I get it.
This is also not someone that you have emotional ties to. I get it.
Totally. And it's so much easier for us to be just ask the question, just text them. But I get it when emotions are involved, your ego's involved, pride, etc. It makes everything a little bit more convoluted. But if you have to take away one thing, just ask yourself, what will move this? What can I do today to move this? That's all you really need to ask yourself.
I also guarantee that the sting is not as bad as it feels like it's going to be.
No.
I mean, you probably even have your own examples of situations that in the moment you're oh my God, this is life-threatening. And now you're wait, what? But I can think of people that I've spent way too many hours thinking about that. I'm what was her name again? I don't even remember.
Seriously.
So I wish I had those hours back in my life. That's my two regrets of dating is hours back in my life. And I guess it's kind of in the same realm of not staying with people that were undeserving to get those hours back in my life.
We need to create a new segment on our show called Wait, What? And all it is just us talking about these memories where we wasted our time ruminating about something or somebody that no longer matters to us. So then we can end that segment with, wait, what?
Love it.
Good. Cool. Great questions. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more questions. See y'all next week.
Bye.